Well. Between Nashville and Minnesota, some might say the Flames are just like Jekyll and Hyde. You are watching the ArmChair GM Podcast.
You're right. It is kind of Jekyll and Hyde. And I want to talk a little bit about the Nashville game, but not that much, because I think that's kind of an outlier in how the Flames have been playing over the last 3 weeks or so. Honestly, I think that even in the games that they've been losing, they've been playing much, much, much better, and they've been winning more games too. Especially much better than they, had in the first month and a half of the season. And it's good to see. Like, it's tough because you and I want the team to rebuild, and they seem to resist from the top, kind of resist the entire rebuild situation as much as they possibly can. And when you get good play and nice wins, it's good to watch, but it's hard because you know that somebody's sitting up in their fucking, you know, press box or whatever, and thinking, "Oh yeah, this is why we're going to make the playoffs." And it's like, well, we just won again, and we're 32nd in the league. How many teams are there in the league?
Well, so far, right now, I believe it's just 32.
So
There
you're
may be
saying we're
room for
dead
growth
last?
and expansion later. We might be dead last.
Yeah, definitely a playoff team though.
You know what? I think all they need to do is they're probably just a one piece away from becoming a contender. You know, if maybe they can just find that one piece, maybe two pieces at best
Trade for
at free
Stamkos.
agency. I mean, if I think what we do is we just ride the ship the way it's going right now. At free agency, we make a splash, and I'm not saying like sell players. I mean, literally just bring them in, so
Mm-hmm.
is that we can make a huge push in March, and that'll boost us up into the playoff spot. And once you're there, it's like a different season. Anything can happen. And let me tell you, the way the Flames have been playing all year, in comparison to other teams within the league, I think they have a legitimate shot. Sorry, I've just been practicing my sarcasm. Um,
That was
I hope
awful.
like what the fuck,
That was
and
almost as
that's all.
awful as listening to Kelly Rudy laugh at things that aren't funny.
Oh man, why would you like just kick me when I'm down, right? Um, I honestly think that games like they had against Minnesota, where they were really good in the second half of that game, even the final two periods, really. But games like that where they're they're playing really well against decent opponents. You know damn well that that's what's happening up in, not necessarily with Conroy and those guys, but the higher ups, the owners and the
Yeah.
president of hockey op and stuff like that. They're just sitting there going, you know, I think if we just tweak it a little bit, we can get from 32nd to 16th again. We
17th.
can do it. It will be 17th, right?
And that's the best thing about it is, as we all know, the Flames had an incredible year last year. They love talking about how great their year was last year.
Mhm.
That's
What the Flames had last year was
they missed the
incredible
playoffs
goaltending.
though. So
Yeah,
if that's the
right,
ceiling of
exactly.
your team, then what are we doing here? Anyways, let's talk about that Minnesota game a little bit. Obviously, there was a double minor, and I think two or three other minors in the first period alone. So the
Mhm.
Flames, it felt like they were on the PK pretty much the whole period.
Yep.
And I'm going to take any opportunity I can when he's actually playing well, because he hasn't played well pretty much all season. But I'm going to take any opportunity I can to boost Connor's area up a little bit. He looked today specifically, and I think he's had a couple of really good games. If you take out that Nashville game, I think he's had a couple of really good games before, but this game today looked like Connor's area, like what
Mm.
we saw from him like 2 years ago, just carrying the puck around the offensive zone, transporting it through the neutral zone, circling through the offensive zone, protecting the puck, keeping it, fighting for it, getting it back, and
Mhm.
nice plays to his teammates. After drawing some of the opposing defense towards him, because he just has had the puck for so long, they naturally start moving towards him. And that I love to see that. His legs still aren't as fast as I think they can be, but it's great to see him having the confidence that he can do the puck protection thing, because that's such a huge part of what makes him successful when he is playing well.
I agree. It was probably his strongest game of the season, and that goal that he scored was really pretty. I was surprised with how much he was able to get him to open up for that 5 hole, because there was you could have parked a semi in there. Like, that was
And
a lot of
Gustafson's played
space.
really well lately too.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of what has happened over the last couple of weeks. Is the key players that you kind of want to see develop and go to that next level have been playing way better. Guys like Coronado and Zari and even Huberdeau, right? He kind of went on a bit of a lull. He started out pretty strong, went on a lull, but you're kind of seeing him get back to some of those things that made him successful last year, like the plays in front of the net and
today,
getting dirty
yes,
and yeah.
but I think he's had like 3 or 4 weeks. Like, he broke a
Mhm.
14 game goalless streak today
Yeah,
because he was in front of the net, and he has not been in front of the net for like 3-4 weeks. And
that's true.
that's why, right? Like you were saying in group chat earlier, he absolutely is effective when he does that, but he just
Mhm.
hasn't been doing that. Started doing it again today, started driving the net. He had a couple of really nice um plays where he drove the net um looking for like partial breakaways or whatever, and he looked really
Mhm.
good today. And okay, this just came to my mind and I didn't really think about it. So you remember when he got hurt in preseason?
Mhm.
It was from driving the net. You remember? He kind of drove his
Right.
shoulder into the post and then
That's right.
fell over and smashed his head on the ice, if I remember correctly. And he hasn't been doing that for a while, and I wonder if he was just being a little timid about that because he had been injured doing it.
Mhm.
But he
And that
started
that
doing it again today and he scored. So
well, exactly, and I think he's an intelligent player, and he knows how to win. I think all he needed to do is just have some success at that type of play, and I think it'll start to click again, right? It'll start to become the normal for him once again,
I hope
because
so.
he very quickly discovered that his style of play just isn't gonna cut it on this team as far as how he played in Florida, right? So he's had to kind of reinvent his game into more of a gritty, in your face, not be afraid to get hit kind of player, because he's still very strong. He's strong on his
He's
feet.
a big, strong guy.
Um,
He's just
yeah.
doesn't use it very often.
Hmm. Hmm.
And he did last year.
And he did last year, right? And that's just it. And I think that's you could very well be right that after having that injury and missing, what was it, the first 10 games or something like that of the
I think it was
season?
like 5 or 6, but yeah, it was
Yeah,
the
was it?
first
Yeah,
stretch.
Yeah, first couple of weeks, anyways, or first week and a half, 2 weeks. I think getting back to that, probably, could very well have been on the back of his mind, and you never know. But I just hope that he can just kind of get back to what was making him successful last year. And I mean, as far as last year too, I mean, yes, we did play well. We were still in the bottom third of the league for scoring. We just had really good goaltending in Wolf and Vladar even when he came in for the games. Like it was they were rewarded with goaltending, and it put an unrealistic expectation on the team.
I
And that's
agree.
really unfortunate for the growth of the team and any sort of retooling that they should have done in the off season.
Rebiddling.
Rebiddling, yeah. The and I did want to kind of come back because we kind of jumped over it, but you're right. There was 8 minutes in penalties in the first, all of them high sticking, right? Yeah, Backlund, Coleman, and then Kadri with the double minor, and then
And then
Kadri once
Kadri.
again in the third
Yeah.
with another high stick. So that's 10 minutes in penalties just in stick infractions. They need to tighten that up,
Yeah,
and
that's
it
no
was
good.
it was all veterans.
So I want to bring this up because I agree with you, obviously. How can you not agree? Um, playing shorthanded is not what you should be doing. And I'd say 90% of high sticking penalties are 100% preventable.
Mhm.
And like every once in a while you've been hit and you flail because you got hit and your stick, like that's not really preventable. But
Mhm.
what is preventable is like what was happening today. Um,
I I do find I will agree with you 100%. Both Kadri's penalties and Backlund were 100% avoidable.
yeah,
I don't agree with the Coleman call in any way. I think that was a 100% dive, but
yeah, it's
that's
hard.
just a Homer fan, I guess. But I think Hartman just like
Hartman does that, but
he does
it's
that.
really hard for
And
me to blame other players for diving when fucking Kadri's on this team because it's every game, all game, he's fucking diving around. Like, yeah, it pisses me off. But
yeah, I mean I get that, but I mean in the same mindset though, being so we do call out the diving from Kadri, you got to call it out from other
yeah,
players, whether it's
yeah,
on your team or others, right?
absolutely.
But I think that was a terrible call, and I'm not really sure the reasoning behind it. Is there was I don't even think there was actual contact with a stick at all.
So I could be wrong. I thought I heard this stat on the TV at the end of the game. The Flames had killed off 18 or 19 straight penalties, something like that.
The PKs look good.
PKs look great, and like you don't want to be on the PK, like we were saying 2 minutes ago, but that's really impressive, especially considering at the beginning of the season, everyone looked lost, and it was specifically bad because Anderson and Uyghur and Ball all looked super lost on the PK for the first 3-4 weeks of the season. But the
Right.
last few weeks have been really, really, really good. And today I found, maybe it's just because there was such a large sample size today, but like there were very, like, considering they were on the PK for what seemed like most of the first period and had a couple other ones they had to kill off too. Um, it just seemed to me like it was quick decisions. Especially, I
Mhm.
found Kevin Ball made quite a few like quick plays where he didn't like. I find a lot of the time guys regroup when they're on the PK, and then that causes a turnover or it causes a forecheck to ruin what they're planning to do. But I found
Mhm.
today, especially Ball was just out, just get it out
Yeah.
right instantly.
Yeah. Well, and they kind of had to go to that mindset with, especially with the first two penalties being our number one and our number two penalty killers sitting in the penalty box, and so that will change a plan very quickly. Whether they're going to attempt to do a rush up or just get it the fuck out of the zone, right?
Yeah,
And it's good for players like Ball that they recognize things like that, right? It was definitely the way to play those
who's on the ice? Yeah.
those shorthanded opportunities is just get it out of the zone, get it out of the zone, make them regroup and come back and try again, and just keep forcing the issue.
And it's funny because I was listening to the radio while I was making dinner today, and I think it was Wes Gilbertson brought up that Huberdeau hasn't really been a staple on the PK as much as he was last year, and he thought that that may have been a reason. I didn't really click with me, but he thought that that may have been a reason that Huberdeau hadn't been as physically engaged as in
Mm.
the last couple weeks or whatever. Um, and I don't know why that is, but I think having Backlund and Coleman be the guys taking the penalties kind of brought Huberdeau into the PK role a little bit more today, and I'm hoping that sticks because he is a good penalty killer.
Yes.
And I find that kind of drags him into the battle a little bit more for the rest of the game too, for the even strength in the power play.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's a good observation. To be honest, I think anytime you can make Huberdeau more engaged in what's happening in the game is a good thing,
Mhm.
right? Even if he has to, if passing isn't working and things aren't happening offensively, at least getting him into the mindset of forechecking and defending and just creating a nuisance and making plays at the other end of the ice, and just you have to find a way to just be useful out there, right?
Yeah,
If things aren't going for you in one direction, you have to make a difference on the other end of the ice, or else there's just no reason for you to be out there.
no point. Um, yeah, I think that might have been the most entertaining 2 periods of Flames hockey probably ever since the first game of the season this year. And I think part of it is to see Huberdeau engaged, but also to see, like you were saying, Coronado was very good today.
Mhm.
I thought, like I said, Zeri was very good today. And I'm curious what you think of this, but I don't think I've seen a more physically engaged and somewhat, like, I don't want to say gritty, but like borderline gritty Morgan Frost.
He's been interesting to watch out there. He's been
Yeah,
playing with a chip on his shoulder for most of this year, um, and I like it. I like it a lot. He's, I don't think he necessarily is part of the plan for the team, long term.
probably not.
But if he can do things like that, be more gritty, be more successful away from the puck, then he's just going to up his stock for any sort of return we can potentially get from him. Whether it be this off season, next year, whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
But he's been very engaged in all ends of the ice, for this year, and it's been good to see. And I
I'm
think
actually,
with that, he's just getting used to the system, maybe, because he came in midway through last year, so obviously there was a struggle. But I've enjoyed his game this year.
yeah, I have too. And I've heard some people talking about maybe trying to flip him at the draft or something like that. I'm not, the thing is like the Flames have a lot of forwards in the system, a lot of like middle six looking forwards in the system, but they don't
Mm.
have any centers in the system. And Morgan Frost has like, it's like Reshny and like, I don't know, do you think Potter's fucking 5'7" or
No.
whatever he is going to be like 5'8",
I
whatever he
don't.
is going to be a center? Probably, like maybe, but probably not. But other than that, there's nobody, right? And I'm all for getting a guy like Frost, and if somebody offers you something nice for him, fucking take it. But also, I kind of feel like if they move Kadri one of these years, Backlund's only got another couple years left in his career. We're gonna need a veteran center.
Sure.
I think you need a veteran center, right? So it'd be nice. Maybe he's the type of guy you'd want to keep around if he continues playing like this.
I mean, it's not a terrible idea, right? I
Like,
mean, it really depends on how much of a rebuild, retool, whatever you want to call it, that the Flames organization actually wants to do. I don't obviously get the sense that it's, tear it down to the
no, and it won't
to
be.
the bones and start over. And so, I
I
mean,
mean, they're
he's
not
a
going to
very
be able to move you
serviceable
without him.
middle six center, right?
Yeah,
So I mean, I have no problem with him remaining on the team, like you said, if he's going to continue to be engaged like that.
yeah,
And if he continues to play like that, and next year and year after that, he becomes a solid voice in the locker room. He becomes part of the leadership group. Great.
yeah,
You know, and we've already seen that he has a really good attitude on and off the ice. Players seem to enjoy being around him. So I mean, there's no reason to be hasty on it. But you're right. I mean, when you think about it, there isn't a lot of options in the system coming up to
yeah.
fill that role. And you're right. Yeah, right now we're looking at, you know, Kadri. Everybody believes that he's going to be on the move at some point, this year or the summer. And Backlund, I mean, he's a 3C as it is right now, anyways. And he's not going to be around much longer.
He's
Then
36, I think.
mhm,
35, 36. He's my age, so
yeah,
35, 36. Um,
yeah. You
I
you would have retired last year.
I
Um,
would have retired a few years back, but I
but
don't
yeah,
take
you're right.
very
Like,
good care of
so then
myself.
what are the options, right? You start putting Zeri in the spot to see what he can do, and but these are all just, in my opinion, fill-ins, right? Like, and hopefuls. You put Zari in there in hope that he becomes a top six center, and or you got Sharon Govich,
It,
bottom six center. Like, it's just
you don't want Sharon Govich playing center ever again. Never again.
yeah,
Not even a fucking shift.
exactly.
Um,
And I feel the
Rushing
same
is
way with.
looking like he might end up being. I'm not gonna
Mm,
say a first liner, but I'm gonna say he's gonna be an NHLer for sure, and he's probably gonna be like a top six kind
yeah,
of center. And like he is ripping up college. He's playing really well, and from what I've seen, it's on both ends of the ice, so that's good to see. But he's also, like I said, the only guy
mm,
who's even possible that's coming up, and that's why I think maybe having Frost around for a few more years, especially if Bax isn't going to be around for much longer and Kadri's hopefully not going to be around. But I don't know. Um,
right.
I also wanted to just say this about Frost's game today specifically. It wasn't just like when I say gritty, like borderline gritty, it's not like just the defensive side or being physical. It's also like I found on the offensive side of the puck, he was pushing like trying to get around people the way he's always done it since I've seen him since he's been around is he'll try and just get around the guy without pushing them, right? But he's pushing people around, trying to get around them. He's actually trying to move them out of the way instead of just trying to dance around somebody. And I found, especially today, that it's kind of given him a little bit of a speed boost and maybe I don't know exactly how. It just seems like when he's doing that, which happened like 4 or 5 times tonight, he's going much quicker. Um, but yeah, I don't have that much more
Yeah.
to say about Frost, but
No, but I mean, like, but you're right. If if the players are going to become more engaged, obviously good things are going to come.
Mhm.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And same thing with, even with Coleman, right? He's actually quietly had a pretty decent
He's had
season.
a really good season. He's
Yeah.
had a really good season,
Yeah.
especially for a
And
guy who's a quote unquote third line shutdown guy.
well, that's right. And when you have somebody like Coleman, obviously a veteran, he's been around, he knows the assignment. He understands what is happening in his position in this point in his career and in this point in his stay with Calgary. But he is a team guy. And so he knows that if he plays his cards right, he will have a really good opportunity to potentially play for a Stanley Cup this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep. Oh,
that's
yeah.
just my take on it, right? That if he does the right things, then that just makes it easier, in my opinion, for Calgary to go out and find a trading partner with
Or for
with an
somebody to
appropriate
give an
contender.
offer worth, because
That's right.
I'm not sold Calgary's out there looking for trading partners for him or Kadri. I just
I
feel
don't
like if
either,
they
but
get one, they will do it.
yeah,
Right, which
exactly.
is the wrong way to go about it. But that's just how I think this organization operates. But no,
Yeah, they're
I
very
agree with you.
reactive, right?
And
Yeah,
I've
they're
heard
very
that
reactive
Cad,
instead of proactive.
yeah, be proactive. I've heard that there's some interest in Coleman. I've heard from a few different places that there's lots of people, lots of GMs are calling about Coleman. I don't know what the
Mhm.
offers are like, but
Right,
um,
right.
okay. I'm curious about this because we've had 4 or 5 games with no Wolf, except for the end of the last game there. And Cooley has played pretty well, except for that last game against Nashville, where let's be honest, the entire team was awful. But I think Cooley, I mean, everybody who's watched can tell you Cooley's played pretty freaking well. The team's played better in front of him. But I'm curious how you felt about not because Wolf had a really good game today. I think that goes without saying. It was a very good
Yeah.
game. But I want to ask you about one specific part of his game that I really noticed from puck drop: body
Right.
language.
Yes. He's had a his body language has been very different for most of this season, especially compared to last year. Last year, he was riding the high. He was the stud between the pipes, and everybody in the league was talking about him and to him.
Yeah.
He had or has had a typical sophomore slump.
Yeah.
It happens way more than I would like to even talk about
Yeah.
with a lot of goalies, right? It's a thing.
Not just
So
goalies,
he's
players.
definitely had his players, yeah, yeah. But it's more obvious in goaltending,
Yeah.
obviously, right? Um, I don't know, like you can tell that his mentality has been pretty fragile this year. He's
I
been
don't
really
agree with that.
angry at himself. Yeah. I see the way he shakes his head and the way he's sitting on the bench. Um, especially after being pulled, he's really mad at himself and stuff like that. But I think
I'm not sure if I'd call that fragile. I just call that being a competitor, being
no,
frustrated with yourself.
yeah, 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 no, for sure. But I just I do still worry about it with him.
Okay.
Um, he is a good goalie, and I truly believe he's going to work his way out of it. I mean, he showed it against Minnesota. I mean, it was bad luck that they got one goal that changed directions two times before it got to him. Like there's that goal was not on him in any way.
Mm,
Aside from that, I thought it was a really, really, really good performance by him.
yeah.
One of his best for the season, in my opinion. Right?
Probably even better than the shutout that he got.
Yeah. Yeah, it was against a much better opponent, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know the Wild have been really fucking good lately, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They're so fun to watch. But yeah, I just want to go back to my question there. I his body language today was, I am not giving this crease up again,
Mhm.
right? I
Good.
think I don't know if you, but like even the way he shrugged off shoulder saves was like cocky, and just, it wasn't just making a save, it was like making it and following the puck, obviously with his head, because you're supposed to do that, but like following the whole motion to be like, yeah, you're not getting past me today. No, like
Mhm.
kind of smug about everything, and I really like that because, um, when you're not playing well, doing stuff like that, like Jordan Binnington, pisses me off. But when you are playing well, fucking be smug about it. That's fine.
There's nothing wrong with arrogance within the net if it's working for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's something wrong with arrogance in the net when it's not, i.e., just going to throw this out there like a Mike Smith,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Just,
exactly.
just first thought, him. But
Oh,
no,
I lost
I
it
think,
in the crowd. What?
yeah, yeah. What are you talking about? Like,
What? I'm sorry, that was 150 fucking feet away, and you lost it
yeah.
in the crowd. You couldn't just like,
I,
fuck, and then glare
I
at
think,
your defenders about it.
yeah,
Like, fuck.
that was my biggest issue with that entire play, the one where he lost it in the crowd.
That was
Was
Anderson that scored that too, eh?
yeah, and he just the way he immediately blamed his teammates for it. Like,
His
how,
teammates that were
how do you do
150
that?
feet away because the play was
Yeah,
150 feet away.
like you literally just got scored on from 175 feet away, and you're blaming somebody else. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You
Yeah,
piece of
yeah,
shit.
yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was really impressed with that. And honestly, like you were saying, you don't think you're worried about his mentality. I'm not worried about his mentality at all.
Yeah.
With him specifically, I'm worried maybe a little bit more about his play this year, but I'm not worried about his confidence or anything like that this year.
Mhm.
Um, but this game today against the Wild was like, yeah, he was making really nice saves. He was kicking rebounds out to where he wanted them to go. He was, shrugging out of play or whatever. But did you see that Scorpion save?
I did, and then Kadri swatting it out of there.
Kadri
That
swatted it
whole
out.
sequence was pretty great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
that was, yeah, yeah. No, that was it's good to see him have a really good game like that because it's only going to have positive results, right?
Yeah.
Like like when he's feeling good, he's playing great, and so
Mhm.
if he can have a little stretch here where he gets back to form like he had last year, that's obviously the best thing for the Flames moving forward. It may not be the best thing for the franchise moving forward this year, depending on what potentially he can do to get us from 32nd to 20th.
26. Yeah.
Right?
And
So,
that's like, I said this last year a lot. I don't mind. Obviously, wins are more fun to watch usually, but
mhm,
we're not in the business of that right now. You and me
right.
specifically, and many Flames fans are in the business of, let's have a fun game that we lose. But if we're winning games off of the backs of Dustin Wolf, Connor Zary, Matt Coronado, Zane Perek when he comes back, Sam Honzek if he was healthy. If we're winning games off the backs of the young players who are developing in our organization, Matt Vigradine if he comes up, whatever, right? Then that's fucking awesome, right? That's what we want.
Yeah.
What we don't want is like very many more games where Kadri superheroes us to a win,
Right.
because that's not helping the organization's future and it's not helping the kids develop.
That's true. We also do need Kadri to increase his stock, right?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
return purposes. But I do get what you're saying for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, having the young guys that we're trying to develop and really, build around, it's key that they get going and that they start feeling confident about their game again and being positive contributors to the team, which I mean, I harped on and ragged on Coronado for a big chunk of the start of the season.
He was awful.
He was awful, but he's been really fucking good in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. The whole
He's
team
been
kind of,
really, really good.
I feel like the whole team kind of, something about the system clicked maybe about a month ago. And again, like that game in Nashville was the outlier for the last month. It was a really bad game, but I feel like something that Huska and McLean and Call and Lowry were trying to drive into the guys' heads for the first month of the season was not clicking, and it was really hard to watch. But it's clicking now. There's still 32nd. There's still a lack of talent shows, obviously, but it's way less. It's not a chore to watch anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
And the
Yeah,
guys
it's not painful anymore. Yeah, it's not painful anymore. And like I've been saying for like even last year, right, when we truly expected the Flames to be bottom dwellers last year and all that fun stuff, and then the season just kind of went awry because of the goaltending. All I wanted to see was the young guys progressing and effort. That was just the key. That's all I wanted. I wanted to see them develop as a team, and as long as I can see that, if they lose games, so be it.
Yeah.
But now I just the same
You're a
thing.
fake
I want
fan.
sure. I'm
I guess I
I've
am
been
too.
called a lot of things. I've been called a lot of things in my life, and I'm okay with it. You can call me whatever the fuck you want. Like, I'm a fake fan because I want this team to succeed in the future.
And
I don't
not
want
only
them to
succeed,
continue to be mediocre for another 20 years.
yeah, and not just succeed in the short term in the future,
Right.
but have a stretch where you look at the Lightning over the last few years, let's say, where
Mhm.
they drafted Stamkos and Hedman and Point, and Point I think was a later pick, but they Vasilevsky, like they drafted the core of their team
Mhm.
in the early first round,
Yeah.
and they are Stamkos isn't there anymore, but they have their first, like, this is years after they've won multiple cups and they're first in their division again,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
they're doing it off of a winning culture. And listen to this. They have, last time I checked, their first pair was Darren Radish and Emil Lilleberg, which most hockey fans would be like, excuse me, who? Because Hedman's
Yeah.
hurt, right?
Yeah.
McDonough
But
is
that's
hurt.
only but
And
still, yeah,
they've
that's
went on this
two
run.
two players are two players are hurt and nobody's heard of the rest of them, which is weird, right?
Yeah. But basically my point there is like you breed a winning culture by winning. You don't breed a winning culture by getting 17th and being like, oh, we outperformed our expectations. It's like, yeah, you outperformed your expectations and you missed the
Yes.
playoffs.
So what?
So you
Yeah.
got to bottom out like Tampa did, like every team that's won that's not Vegas has done. Bottomed out, got a bunch of picks, a bunch of fucking superstar players, and spent a few years in the basement, 3, 4, 5 years, really committing to the rebuild, and it hurt to watch. I'm sure all of the fans of those teams
Hmm?
can tell you that it hurt to watch. But did Chicago fans like the 3 cups? Did Tampa Bay fans like the 3 cups? Did LA fans like the 2 cups? Probably, you know,
It was
they
probably
got the
fun.
cores of their team in the top 3 of the draft, and they had a lot of growing pains on the way there.
Yeah.
And we're all pretty much all the Flames fans I know are willing to go through that for an
Yeah.
actual good chance at sustained success, right?
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's I'm willing to go through it to be not just in the playoff conversation for 10 years, to be essentially a gibbon for the playoffs for 10 years, right? I'm sick of making the playoffs, miss the playoffs, making the playoffs, miss the playoffs. We did that for like 12 years coming out of the '04 run, which we obviously once we got there, it was fun and all that stuff. But
Nobody thought it
we
was going to
weren't
happen.
gonna we weren't even supposed to make the playoffs, right? Like
Brett
leading up to
Warner, who
that
was
was
there, calls it a Cinderella story,
right.
right?
Like and leading up to that was a decade of garbage,
Yeah.
right? There's like and ever since because of '04, like literally as much fun as it was on Red Mile and going to games and celebrating and this city became alive and it was fucking fun. But aside from that, it ruined this franchise because it gave them this expectations. If we just get those gritty guys as the NHL changed, we just need that grit. We don't need talent. We don't need to draft. We just need to sign free agents, trade for, you know, guys, in the back half of their careers. And we just one piece away for the last 21 fucking years. And we haven't been one piece away ever. We've made it out of the first round of the playoffs twice
Yeah.
in 21 years.
Imagine being one of those teams that they talk about, you know, a lot of teams do this where they have an awful November, a bad October, and a bad November, but nobody cares because they're like, oh, they're going to turn
It's
it
a blip.
on and then they're going to make the third round of the playoffs at least.
Right.
That's how people talk about the Oilers right now. That's how people like, as much as I hate to say that, that's how people talk about the Oilers right now. That's how people talk about the Panthers, who are so incredibly injured that they have no right being in a playoff position, but they are. Like that's how people talk about the Hurricanes, who are a shoe in for the conference finals every year, right? Like, imagine being one of those teams who are just expected to go far, who are expected to sell out their buildings into mid-May at the very least,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that would be fun for us, right? That would be so. And I don't mean once or twice. I mean, like, the Hurricanes have been doing that for fucking like 8-9 years now.
Yeah, and it's
That
which
might
is,
not be
I
the
mean,
best
which is,
example, but
yeah, no, I understand what you're saying though, right? But
yeah,
yeah, I think maybe not the best example because I'm sure their fan base is getting really fucking tired of that
because they don't have the
the
superstar,
way
right?
yeah, the outcome that has happened from them. But still, at least they've been part of the contender conversation for a very long time.
Yep.
They are potentially a piece away from greatness.
They are a Mikko Rantanen actually working there away from winning a
Right.
cup, in my opinion.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Right? They are
Yeah.
a not a Nazem Kadri, but they're one star player away, right? They're like a
They
I don't
need
even know
Coleman.
who's available. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah.
No, they're
Right.
one real superstar player away from winning a cup, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
Rod needs to play his star players more and not pretend like Svechnikov is a fourth liner because he's not.
Right.
Anyways,
Right.
I don't have much more. Do you?
I don't think I have a lot more. I mean, what can you say, right? It's been a roller coaster type season, and we're still at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. Which is what we want, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't
So,
fuck this up, Flames.
Mission McKenna. And the thing about this year is even if it's not McKenna, even if we don't win the lottery, or if we lose the lottery, even worse, to a different team and get
Mhm.
bumped to second or third overall, you've still got like Stenberg and Lawrence, and like there's like 4 or 5 forwards who, like last year there wasn't a bunch of superstars, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
This year it seems like people are way higher on the top of the draft when it comes to actual star power and not just NHL contributors. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a big gap between, I'll say, the first five and
the
most of
rest,
the rest of the first round, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Like there's a big drop off in talent levels there.
Yeah. Um,
And it's yeah.
well, I think it's about time we get out of here.
Yep.
Thank you for listening. Make sure you let us know about how you are feeling about the Flames' recent play in the comments down below. Make sure you check out our YouTube, Spotify, all that type of stuff in our link tree, which will be linked in all of our socials and all that type of stuff. So yeah,
There it is. Thanks for
cheers.
tuning in, everybody. Go Flames.
Go Flames.
Cheers.